Hey everybody, it's Brady from Elite Weather Forecast, and this evening I'm going to be doing a video on Tropical Storm Marco and also Tropical Storm Laura. Both are expected to be hurricanes in the future, so without further ado, let's get started. The Tropical Storm Marco here, we're going to start with first. Expected to be a hurricane later this evening, potentially tomorrow. We're going to see how this develops because it's very interesting. And if it can get its act together quickly, add another 20 miles per hour, it's going to be not a great situation for Louisiana. So we don't exactly want that to happen. But again, we're going to forecast, track to see what happens. And we're going to wish all the best for them folks in Southeast Louisiana and the Mississippi coast, of course. And even the southern Alabama coast, as well as Florida Panhandle, should prepare to expect some effects as well. Maybe certain tropical storm conditions can't be ruled out as well for some of those portions of the Gulf. So we're going to slide down and take a look at some of the storm graphics. Look at that. Any new convection? We got, looks like a little bit of new convection popping towards the south. A little bit towards the center. So we're going to look at that as well in a little bit because it's harder to see on that infrared image. Again, if you don't have this app, I highly recommend that you get it, the Hurricane Tracker app. Every video that I use, I will recommend it because I use it and it is great. Take a look at the National Hurricane Center graphics. Currently 65 mile per hour tropical storm moving north-northwest at 13 miles an hour. Forecasted to move northwest later tonight and then back northwest again tomorrow into Sunday night. Expected to move northwest again and northwest as well throughout the day Monday and track into Louisiana. Here, tropical storm force probabilities well above that, high probabilities for 50 knot wind speeds and also pretty significant probabilities for hurricane force winds. So that's certainly interesting there. Currently, tropical storm force wind field not that large, but expected to broaden as we see this storm continue to strengthen. As expected, there is some dry air it's currently dealing with right now, so we're going to have to watch and see how much that impacts. If we start to see some real good convection bursting and recon, which I'm sure will be in it later tonight. I'm not sure exactly when, but later tonight, I bet they will be in Marco for sure. And when we see that come through, we'll have to, if it's not taken off and convection is not bursting by then we might be in the safe zone for Louisiana, for Marco at least. And it could be more of a Texas track in a central to western Louisiana. But for now, with the forecasted to be a hurricane, potentially almost a Category 2, we're going to have to watch and see how much this takes off. And we can see it right between the Yucatan and Cuba right now as well. So splitting all land as it's been able to intensify. See some of the sea surface temperatures will slide down very warm. 30 degrees Celsius going to be moving to 31 degrees Celsius temps as it continues to move into the Gulf. Just extremely warm water temperatures. Plenty of warmth there. And look at the rainfall. That I can't exactly tell you if this is going to verify or not because there's still a lot of variables. So I'm not going to exactly go into rainfall right now. Not currently, but surge I am going to talk about because that is always concerned, and that's something that should be prepared for days in advance. So 2 to 4 feet in western and central parts of Louisiana, and then from Grand Isle to the southern Mississippi coast and even into the southern Alabama coast and into Mobile Bay. Potentially 3 to maybe even 6 feet of surge can't be ruled out at the moment. Again, a stronger hurricane will provide more surge and also likely a more eastern track. So that's something we're going to have to watch as well. It looks like Pontchartrain 2 to 4 feet at the moment. That could change. Could be a little less depending on a more eastern track, or it could be a little bit more depending on a slightly stronger hurricane, but still able to slide a little bit more western than expected. But typically with a stronger storm, we will see a more eastern track, but who knows? It's 2020 at this point. Everything is off. We can see the models. I don't like to see that uncertainty, not only 24 hours out, but 48 hours out. There's too much uncertainty for my liking right there. I mean, that's a wide range of uncertainty, about maybe 200 miles, 48 hours out. That's too broad of an uncertainty, and I don't like that at all very much. That's never something we want to see, that much uncertainty. But what is certain, a lot of models getting this up to a strong Cat 1 hurricane. We can see models, how many models get this to a 75 knot hurricane, which is about 80 miles per hour. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7, I think, 6 or 7. So there's a lot of agreement in virtually all of the models, besides, looks like about 4 of them deciding to send Marco into the hurricane range, and a few sending it into the Cat 2 range. So we're going to see how that develops as well. Would not surprise me if this gets to a Cat 2. Discount those ensembles. They have the pressure off completely by around 15 millibars. Yep. Solid job right there. Take a look how this developed. How did Marco intensify so quickly? We'll take a look at the microwave energy. Had good and plentiful environmental conditions, and it just took off. As now around 55 knots are the wind speeds, maybe a little bit higher, probably around 54 to 58 knots currently are the wind speeds based off the last recon in the ASCAT wind satellite data. We take a look at the wind shear. Very low. It is more. It's in a current good spot for venting and for outflow to happen based on where the wind shear is currently in the Gulf. But that's going to move north and east more, so we'll notice that happen. And it's not going to be taken with it exactly. It's not going to be taken with the trough. It's strong enough of a storm to hold its ground right now. So that's good news for Marco. Bad news for us folks in the U.S. And Laura. Well, I'm not talking about Laura yet. So what am I doing here? The vorticity chart. This has not been updated since, well, I guess 4 o'clock. But the vorticity, it's not as incredibly strong as I thought it would be for a 65 mile per hour, 992 millibar tropical storm. But I'm sure we'll see that vorticity signature increase. Laura's is quite healthy as well, much larger than Marco's is. So that's one thing to realize too. And I keep talking about Laura. Lord. We can see the spin here from the precipitable water. And that's just going to about do it. Let me remind you, hurricane watches are currently in effect for southeastern Louisiana and southern Mississippi, as long as portions of central Louisiana as well, as there's still a little uncertainty in the track. And currently tropical storm warnings are up for Cuba, as the east side right now of the wind field is currently, well, the wind field is on the east side, and Cuba happens to be on the east side as well. So Cuba is experiencing more effects and heavy rainfall than they were expecting, I'm sure, too. Send a prayer out to make sure everybody down in western Cuba is doing okay tonight. But I'm sure we'll need to send more prayers to Louisiana and then the Gulf Coast over the upcoming days as well. So let's trek back here now to Laura. We'll move quite a few hundred miles eastward now. And Laura, currently 50 mile per hour tropical storm, likely stronger than that, or it was earlier, but there is no 55 mile per hour designation for a tropical storm. And they didn't buy that it was a 60 mile per hour tropical storm, even though there were 58 mile per hour sustained winds reported from a station down there. They did not believe that was associated with the wind field of Laura, so I believe that was just a vortice that happened to pick up some low-level circulation and increase the winds for a short period of time. And so now we can look. It's actually doing quite all right on the visible satellite. If we look at it from there, looks better than Marco on the visible satellite, but that's just because Marco is being vented out and stretched out a little bit more, so it doesn't quite look as good. and it is a smaller system as well. Laura is a bit larger of a system, so it's going to look better on satellite, even though it's not quite as strong in the internal core as Marco. And convection is just popping. Well, actually, gonna slide right back to Marco here. Slide right back, and so I can just show you because I said I promised you I was going to show you the convection. And this is Weather Nerd Satellite. If you do not have it, again, something I highly recommend that you get. And, a brand new load of convection. Wow, brand new. That is not good news exactly in terms of strengthening. It likely is about to undergo another load of strengthening based on that convective pulse right there. Wow, just popped. Whew. Yeah, there's cloud tops around minus 80 degrees Celsius. That is satisfying to look at, though. Not exactly your typical 65 mile per hour tropical storm, but that is certainly satisfying to look at. That new convective pulse. Yeah, quite impressive. So we'll take a look at Laura now on satellite, which is also doing quite impressive as well. So these two have definitely stepped up their game today from yesterday on satellite appearances for sure. And look at that explosion of CGI lightning from the satellite being picked up, and as well as convective impulses as well. One over even Haiti and the western part of Hispaniola, and a ton over the eastern part of the DR, and especially south of Puerto Rico. They believe currently the level of spin, or the low level center, I should say, rather, is in between the DR and Puerto Rico right now, and is currently moving west. I believe it's more of a west-northwest instead. Now, that's just my opinion, but I'm not going to spend this time giving crap to the National Hurricane Center, because they do a fantastic job. They do a real incredible job, and without them, we would not be as prepared, and a lot more lives would be lost for sure. So take a second at some point during the week to give them some gratitude and some thanks for all the great stuff that they do. But for now, look at the satellite, and it's quite impressive. It's really impressive. Some of it died down. Some of the convective activity died down, but it's moving a little bit more west. It's expanding now. The spin looks better. It just looks real good right now. The appearance on satellite looks like a good tropical system, a strong tropical system. It is, though, a 50 mile per hour tropical storm, so take it with a grain of salt. But it appears, as it's over water right now, the low level center, according to National Hurricane Center, since it's over water, it's probably strengthening, and it will probably stop once it interacts with the DR. And how much it does will be very impactful to the track and intensity of the storm. That's something I can't tell you. All bets are off for that. I said that in a tweet. All bets are off. I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't know the answers. And I don't think the National Hurricane Center even knows the answers, to be honest, right now. There could be a new center to form over the next 2 hours or so. We don't know exactly for sure. But we'll take a look at the visible satellite and see if it went to nighttime yet. Not yet. Still got plenty. Can see all those warnings up for Puerto Rico. But lots of lightning. Good view of the lightning here over the southern part of Hispaniola and just offshore of Hispaniola as well. You can really see all that convective bubbling, indicative of a strengthening tropical system. So now we're going to slide back. I'm about to sneeze in a second. Excuse me. But slide back here. And that was the convective bursts we were seeing there from Laura as well. That has been strong all day long. Convection ever since this morning around 4 a.m.-ish. Convection has been really strong, or maybe earlier around 2 a.m. And we see here, I'm going to sneeze in a minute, I'm telling you. Maybe I'll get through the video first, but we'll see. And I don't like to see that either, how off the tracks are. Anywhere from the Texas-Mexico border to an Irma track, basically, is what we're looking at right now. So yeah, that's why all bets are off for me predicting what the track's going to be. We do know it's going to slide over Hispaniola, and if it's the north side of Hispaniola, that's going to be very impactful. The core is going to be less teared apart, with the higher terrain being on mainly the central and the southern parts of Hispaniola. There still is obviously terrain and land interaction. It is going to decrease the strength of Laura, but how much, we don't exactly know yet based on the track. It's too hard to tell. And we'll take a look at National Hurricane Center graphics. They have it being an 85-mile-per-hour hurricane. I'm speeding up my voice here so we can get through the video quicker. And we can see it's going to be, I think it's going to be a major hurricane. I don't want it to be, again, if it does slide over all that terrain and by the time it slips out of Cuba, there just isn't a core, then it's not going to develop. That's for sure. We know that. But I think if there's just any sort of core, there is nothing that's going to stop this thing from intensifying to a major hurricane. It's just basically on a clock, and it's going to have potentially 48 to 60 hours to head out over open waters, and maybe more, depending on track and intensity as well. But I don't like the setup from Laura in the upcoming days for the Gulf. Laura scares me more than Marco for sure at the moment. If there's incredible takeoff from Marco and it all of a sudden becomes a major hurricane, which I don't think is possible right now, it would slide more east. We would know that too. So that's not looking likely right now. Of course, I don't want to put any scary thoughts into people's heads, but that's always a possibility we have to remember. And I'll slide to a different topic now. The wind field, much larger than it is on Marco and Laura, covering all of Puerto Rico right now, and starting to get into Hispaniola as well. The wind field is mainly on the east side, well, only on the east side right now, and a little asymmetrical as most tropical systems are. They start with their wind field on the east side, most do, and that's why the northeast eye wall is typically favored, as almost all tropical systems have the northeast side develop for tropical winds first, rather than the southeast side, southwest, west, northwest side, rather, instead. Again, sea surface temperature is very warm, so it's at any point when it's able to get in the water, it's going to have a good chance to develop with weak wind shear and very warm sea surface temperatures. Good equation right there for tropical development. And we'll slide quicker and quicker if we can. The models, again, I said I don't like to see that. Some getting into the Cat 4 range. I think there's a good chance for a major hurricane. I don't want that to be the case, but I think there's a good chance, and you need to prepare as if a major hurricane is going to happen. If you live in southeast Louisiana, just prepare for it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but prepare for as if a major hurricane is going to happen. I can tell you that probably is not going to happen. This track right here. I'll slide here, try and go quick. I know it's been like 16, 17 minutes, but I want to go quicker. And I'm not even going to go through the microwave energy again. Or imagery, sorry, not energy. Take a look here. Low, weak, wind shear. Good equation for tropical development as well. Upper level winds. Good for Marco and Laura. And that vorticity, quite strong, and Laura as well. So that's going to do it for me today from Elite Weather Forecasts. Again, don't panic. Please don't panic. Don't worry. Just be prepared. That's the best thing I can say to you all that live on the Gulf Coast. Be prepared for the worst. So when the worst happens, it was as if you were expecting it. That's the best thing I can say. All right, peace out, and try and do another video either later tonight. Probably not later tonight, but probably tomorrow I will do another video update